Joining me now is Alex Norris, Shadow Public Health Minister and MP for Nottingham North. Welcome to you. Are you bracing yourselves?
Yeah, well, of course. We've known throughout this pandemic that as infection rates increase, then so do restrictions in order to control it. So it is mystifying with Nottingham being at the moment at the highest in England, that we've got no restrictions at all. And, we're pushing the government to try and do that at the earliest possible opportunity.
How do you describe the situation at the moment? What sort of conditions are people living under? How do they feel about how this is all being managed?
Well, people are worried. You need to understand that less than 2 weeks ago, we were below average in terms of the infection rate, and now we've shot up and we're top of that leaderboard in England. So people are quite surprised by that and a bit concerned by it. But what people are really worried about is where the guidance from the government is. Where are the restrictions? Now, we understand that actually it's not convenient for the government to introduce restrictions because they want to change the system, and that's what we've read in the newspapers, and that we'll get extra restrictions in midweek when they introduce their new system. So Nottingham people are being completely left over the weekend because it's not a convenient time for the government. People think that's unacceptable. I think that's unacceptable.
So you're saying that there's been really no communication at all, and you're having to read about what possibly might happen in the media?
Yeah, we're learning a lot more, I'm afraid, in the media, both traditional media and social media, than we are from the government itself. We had an MP's meeting with the minister and a number of the scientists yesterday, but that was a general conversation. When we mentioned Nottingham, they just simply said that no decisions had been made. There's been no engagement with us otherwise as members of Parliament. The local council have barely been talked to. The leader of the council is desperate to talk to the government, but they don't seem able to do that. It's just another aspect of the chaotic communications that have dogged the government's approach to this pandemic, and it's why we're struggling. It's not inevitable that we're here. We're here because of the collapse also of the test and trace system. So the government continue to fail, and we in Nottingham are going to have to pick up the pieces.
So as well as ordinary people, you're saying that leaders in Nottingham haven't been consulted in terms of planning or what might next happen?
Yeah, I understand there's been no direct contact between the government and the leader of the council. I know he's spoken to Public Health England, as you'd expect, but no proper contact. We've seen a statement from the government that says that they support what the council says, when the council says that actually tonight we want people to act like there's restrictions already and to not mix households. So why on earth are they putting out press statements saying they support our approach locally when they're not actually formally willing to do so? And the real concern, Gillian, is that Nottingham, in my opinion, is the best night out in the country. It's one of the big part of our economy. It's something we're really proud of. But what we don't want to see tonight is people on a Friday and Saturday night, which have been normally very, very busy nights, people going out and thinking they'll get one last hurrah in. So that is the cost of the government's delay of waiting until next week. So we want people to not do that, instead to act now like these restrictions are in place.
The government are in disagreement with your analysis of their communication, and they've insisted that they have been working closely with local leaders and local authorities throughout the pandemic.
Yeah, I mean, they say these things, but it doesn't make them true. If you look what Mayor of Manchester, Andy Burnham, said yesterday about the complete lack of conversation. If you look last week, what Nick Forbes, the leader in Newcastle, said, and if you talk to David Mellon, the leader of Nottingham City Council, you'd say that is not the case. So the problem with the government is they spend a lot of their communications time trying to justify the approaches that they've taken and trying to tell everybody how well they're doing. If they actually spent their time talking to people locally and giving clearer communications more generally to the rest of the population, they'd be doing much better. But at the moment, they're just so defensive. So, that needs to change, and I think we're a really good example of that.
We've had the Mayor of Middlesbrough refusing to accept a local lockdown last week, saying his town would defy it. Would you support local leaders not adhering to future restrictions?
No, I think you'll see that sort of thing if local leaders don't feel consulted, because I understand he's changed his position slightly on that now. I think that's what happens when people, leaders in a community, feel that these restrictions are done to them rather than done with them. I don't think that should ever be the case. I don't, obviously legally they wouldn't be in a position to defy it. Certainly not what I would want in Nottingham. But what I want is that for our local leaders to be talked to in a timely manner. They know our community. Let's get them around the table. Let's agree what's best for an area, and then let's just get it done. Instead, what we've got is delay, dithering, and complete lack of clarity. And that's putting the health of people in my community at risk.
Alex Norris, Shadow Public Health Minister and MP for Nottingham North, thank you very much for speaking to us.